If I haven't made it obvious enough already, I love roller coasters. My excitement before going to a new park with a ton of coasters is always at a crazy high. With that being said, I do slightly prefer theme parks and amusement parks, aka a park with incredible immersion and dark rides. This explains why my personal favorite park chain is Disney, not Cedar Fair like most coaster enthusiasts. Point is, today I will be ignoring the thematic and will be looking strictly at the coasters, which I'm sure most of you prefer hearing about since the majority of enthusiasts would rather ride a good coaster than a good dark ride. Now, I haven't been to all the parks on this list, but rather only half of them. But I wanted this to be a very complete list, so in other words, I'll be taking my best guesses and comparing coaster collections at the top amusement parks in the world. I will be taking many different things into consideration here, like quality of coasters, quantity of coasters, and a healthy balance of thrill and family rides. Now that I've explained the topic, there is one last thing that I have to mention that I literally talk about in the beginning of all my videos. That is that the videos I make take a ton of time and effort to create, so I have to ask of you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. The support I receive is very motivating, and it also fights against the YouTube algorithm, so it's definitely appreciated. Anyways, I think I've said everything I need to say, so without further ado, here are the 15 best parks in the world for roller coasters. Number 15, Fujiku Highland in Yamanashi, Japan. With a total of 6 coasters, Fujiku Highland easily has the smallest quantity of rides here on this list. That said, the lineup here is so top heavy that it was enough to put it in my top 15 worldwide list. Out of these 6 coasters, the top 4 are absolutely phenomenal. Those rides, of course, are Eejanaika, Do-Dodonpa, Fujiyama, and Takabisha. The only reason this park couldn't climb higher on this list is because after this top 4, there's a pretty mediocre family coaster and a pretty mediocre kids coaster, both of which don't do enough to round out that lineup. That being said, if you're a thrill seeker, this is definitely a must visit if you find yourself in Japan. Number 14, Six Flags Fiesta Texas in San Antonio, Texas. Easily the best amusement park in the state for roller coasters, this beautiful Six Flags park is one that I just recently had the chance to visit. Therefore, I can actually speak from experience for this one. What's so great about Fiesta Texas's coaster collection is that their 10 roller coasters all cater to different audiences. They have their 3 standout attractions in Iron Rattler, Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, and Superman Krypton Coaster, as well as an excellent secondhand selection and even a good variety for kids and families. As long as you enjoy riding roller coasters, you can find something to enjoy at this park because they really do have a collection that's good for any member of the family. Number 13, King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. To be honest, I'd say King's Dominion's lineup of coasters is on par with the last spot. Choosing between Fiesta Texas and this park for me was extremely difficult, but I ultimately went with this for having a slightly larger quantity. Otherwise, the quantity is pretty much equal. They've got the 2 elites in Intimidator 305 and Twisted Timbers, as well as an equally good supporting cast as Fiesta Texas. Unfortunately, their loss of Volcano the Blast Coaster in 2018 prevented them from going even higher on this list, but when I went to the park in 2018, I was able to ride it. In other words, I got to experience the top 3 and really appreciated how world-class it was at the time. As it currently sits though, it's still an amazing lineup, and despite Volcano's closure, I do really look forward to returning this park in the coming future. Number 12, Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada. Next up is a park I can also speak from experience for, and it's situated in the country up north for me, Canada. Believe it or not, this park is the 3rd most roller coasters in a single operating park, which they are also tied for with Cedar Point. That quantity is a somewhat big reason they found their way onto this list, but I also think that they have an underappreciated collection for what it's worth. More often than not, the rough Vekoma and Arrow coasters they have overshadow how incredible the good coasters are. Leviathan, Behemoth, and Yukon Striker are all excellent B&Ms in their own right, and as well as that, I consider their 2 large wooden coasters to be incredibly underrated. Yes, they do have a lot of family coasters, but in my opinion, these 2 attractions help the Arrow suspended coaster Vortex maintain a solid supporting collection also. Away from that, a huge majority of their rides receive a good amount of hate, but in my opinion, I don't see how it's so bad, and I think it just impacts the fact that there's really a coaster here for everyone. Number 11, Nagashima Spaland in Mie, Japan. Nagashima Spaland falls in a similar boat to Canada's Wonderland in that they have a bunch of awesome attractions, but then a ton afterwards that receive virtually no attention at all. In my opinion, this supporting cast is better than Wonderland's, which is mostly why they rank a spot higher. Honestly, 2 Schwarzkopf loopers, an Ultra Twister, a crazy 40 free spin, and awesome B&M flyer sounds pretty good to me. As for their most utmost quality attractions, Hakugei looks to be one of the best RMCs in the world, Steel Dragon 2000 is an absolutely humongous giga coaster, and like I said before, their supporting collection complements this very nicely. Because of this, Nagashima Spaland is finding its way on this list just outside of the top 10. Number 10, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg in Williamsburg, Virginia. Prior to Volcano's closure at King's Dominion and Pantheon's official announcement, I would have told you that Busch Gardens didn't have the best coaster lineup in Virginia, but now they literally check off every single box. They've got that standout elite coaster in the aforementioned Pantheon, an incredible backup of 3 B&Ms, and some excellent family attractions, and even more. Sure, if I'm being really nitpicky, then I could complain about how they could use one more standout attraction maybe, but guess what? It looks like that's on the way in 2022 or 2023 with their Drakenspire coaster. This collection is proof that the SeaWorld Entertainment chain's aggression with adding new coasters is benefiting their parks greatly, and it won't even be the last of their parks you'll be seeing on this list. Number 9, Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. For 14 coasters, this is another park with a really strong, well-rounded collection of rides. Fury 325, Intimidator, Copperhead Strike, and Afterburn round out an excellent top 4, and even if their supporting rides aren't the best, so to speak, they do still help this park find their way on this list. Along with that, you've got your options for families and children, so these things put together makes for a really well-rounded lineup. Like I said, that secondhand lineup could use a bit of improvement, like for example, rip out Hurler and RMC it, and also add in a new fresh GCI, but after that, I'm not sure Carowinds' collection could be further improved past a 10 out of 10. Number 8, Busch Gardens Tampa in Tampa, Florida. In a way, this collection is pretty similar to Virginia's Busch Gardens coaster lineup, but I had to slap Carowinds in the middle after really comparing the park's collections to perfection. That said, all three are really close together and are must-visit parks for coaster lovers. As for Busch Gardens Tampa, they've got 10 coasters, and this rather small quantity for such a high spot has rides that literally all serve their own purpose. Before Iron Gwazi, I was really wanting to see a standout or airtime-packed coaster be added to the park, but here we go. SeaWorld has answered our prayers, and now we have one of the best coasters in the world. After that, Kumba and Matu are both incredible classic B&Ms, as is Shikra, which is my personal favorite dive coaster anywhere. As well as that, Cheetah Hunt, Cobra's Curse, Tigress, and Scorpion all serve the lineup well and further balance it out, making for a world-class selection of roller coasters. Number 7, Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. I bet you weren't expecting this park to come up, but I actually think Great America could have one of the most underrated lineups on planet Earth. It gets some attention, yeah, but it's certainly not enough, and I think part of the reason is because they don't have an elite coaster here unless you want to count Goliath, but you know. All I ask is for this segment of the video for you to look past that and acknowledge how fantastic their attractions are as is. You've got 4 wooden coasters in Goliath, American Eagle, Viper, and Little Dipper. You've got several very different B&Ms in Raging Bull, X-Flight, Batman the Ride, and Superman Ultimate Flight. Then you've got your launch coasters in Max Force and Vertical Velocity, the latter of which definitely gets overshadowed in this lineup. And then following this, you've got your decent thrill coasters, Joker and Demon. Lastly, a good mix of family coasters with Wizard, Dark Knight, and Sprocket Rockets, and I'm not sure this park has a bad roller coaster because every single one of those rides I just mentioned contribute to this astounding lineup that deserves so much more attention for what it's worth. Number 6, Energylandia in Zadar, Poland. Some of you may be surprised to see this park so low, but to me, it's a no-brainer to why it doesn't fall into the top 5. Since 2014, the park has invested into 18 roller coasters. They are literally on track to take the record for most coasters in a single park, which is just incredible for the amount of time that's been done in. Some of these attractions are remarkable also, of which Zadra, Hyperion, and Abyssus have quickly become some of the best coasters in Europe's history. After that, there's a couple of good supporters like Formula, Speed, and Dragon, so at this point you may be scratching your head asking, yeah, why is this not higher? It's because after that, they've literally got, I believe, 10 kiddie coasters slash mild family coasters. Even worse, a lot of these aren't even too great of attractions, even when considering the audience they were built for. Heck, some of them are even clones of one another, which literally makes no sense. Next time you attack Six Flags Magic Mountain knocking on them for building 4 kiddie coasters, just remember that Energylandia is out here repping 10 of them. Number 5, Kings Island in Mason, Ohio. The following 5 parks all have 10 out of 10 coaster lineups. Like at this point, anything new that is added to any of them will just turn their 10 to an 11 out of 10. Anyways, Kings Island's lineup of coasters is really fantastic. I know some were disappointed with Orion when it was first announced, but you cannot deny that it makes up for Firehawk and Vortex's removal, if not adds more thereafter. Alongside this coaster, Mystic Timbers, Diamondback, Banshee, and Beast shape an incredible selection at the top. Even behind that, however, there is an equally strong selection of rides considering the Racer, Flight of Fear, Invertigo, Backlot Stunt Coaster, Bat, and Adventure Express. And even after that, they have a good selection of kids rides with Woodstock Express, Flying Ace Aerial Chase, and Great Pumpkin Coaster. There is literally no gap in Kings Island's coaster lineup now that Orion exists, and because of that, this is a park I know I've got to get to later this year. Number 4, Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Like Kings Island, this is another park that literally has no big gaps in their lineup. Skyrush is one of the best coasters in the world, Candemonium complements it very nicely, Storm Runner is an excellent launch coaster, and the lineup just after that with Fahrenheit, Great Bear, Lightning Racer, Wildcat, etc. also makes this amazing. I don't really know what else there is to say about Hershey Park's lineup, but considering the fact that they check off every single box in their collection, makes this an easy top 5 pick in my opinion. Number 3, Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. While Great Adventure is my personal least favorite of the parks on this list I've been to, which is about half, there's no denying that the lineup makes up for this and makes it a must-visit park. Come summertime, this park will have one of the greatest top 3 lineups on Earth with El Toro, Jersey Devil, and King Dakar. All of these are elite as hell and some of the best coasters in the world in my opinion. To back this up, Great Adventure has the most B&M coasters of any park on Earth, and all of them are solid in their own right. Nitro is a fun hypercoaster with a beautiful setting out in the woods. Batman the Ride may be a clone, but it's wicked intense and is overall an awesome experience. Superman is an underrated and sheer fun flying coaster, and also Bizarro and Green Lantern are incredibly enjoyable in different ways. To complement this, I found their free spin to run very aggressive, and they even have a couple of outlying family coasters to choose from as well. Again, there really isn't a hole in this lineup at all, especially with the addition of the Jersey Devil coaster later this year. Number 2, Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. One of the parks I frequent the most is this one right here, which is, in my opinion, the park with the second best coaster lineup of any park on Earth. Matter of fact, why am I even saying in my opinion? I think you'd have to be crazy not to agree here. If you're in that small percentage that really doesn't think so, listen to this list of coasters from best to worst and I think you'll change your mind. X2, Twisted Colossus, Tatsu, Full Throttle, Apocalypse, West Coast Racers, Batman the Ride, Riddler's Revenge, Viper, Superman, Scream, Goliath Ninja. Oh, I don't even have enough air in my lungs to finish the list, which just speaks volumes about the amazing quantity at this park. This is the park with the most coasters in a single location with 19 after all, but I promise you quantity is not even why it's this high. Other than a Giga Coaster maybe, they have almost every type of coaster you could want, and this will be even more true when that extended Jersey Devil clone opens up in 2022. I cannot wait for this place to reopen once more, and I swear I will never take my visits to this park for granted ever once that time comes. Number 1, Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. This is probably a big no-brainer for many of you, but Cedar Point does in fact have the best lineup of coasters of any park in the world, and it's honestly not even that close. For the elites, Steel Vengeance, Maverick, Top Thrill, Dragster, and Millennium Force are all outstanding 10 out of 10 rides for me. Following this, the 4 massive B&Ms and Raptor, Gatekeeper, Rougarou, and Valraven serve the lineup well, and this also goes for Wicked Twister, Blue Streak, and Gemini also. Oh, and I haven't even mentioned Magnum. Heaven forbid I leave out that coaster. Magnum fans would have my head off. Anyways, this lineup is collectively insane and never ending, and it's just a bunch of excellent rides. Every single coaster I just mentioned is an awesome coaster, and that top 4 in particular is a set of rides I cannot live without. If you haven't gotten to the roller coaster capital of the world yet, please do yourself a favor and make the trek out to Ohio. I know it's a long way out to the middle of nowhere, but trust me, it is more than worth it. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video where I've ranked the top 15 parks in the world for roller coaster lineups. As always, I'd really appreciate it if you considered subscribing to the channel and leaving a like on this video if you found it interesting. I'd also really like to see some comments flowing about what you think the best parks in the world are for roller coasters. Again, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye guys.